Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. A couple of weeks ago I got this vintage Pongratz girl from eBay, and when she arrived home she smelled like pure cigarettes. So this video I'm going to show you guys how I attempted to clean and restore her. You can see how yellow the wood is here. She's also got a ding in her cheek, which I actually knew about the ding when I bought her. I had asked the seller about that. But there was a tag inside from where she had been purchased before at some point, so that was kind of cool. But her undergarments are completely yellowed and they smelled terrible and nicotine stained, and the dress was just so smelly. This is a blue silk dress and it's original, but the smell was absolutely horrifying. The hem was a little bit loose too, but that's something that I could deal with. Now, just to show you guys how yellow or how her wood is different than the others, on the left, that Pongratz is from around 1989. Now, she's from around 1984. The guy beside her is from about 2000, and then the girl on the right is 2019. I used some Murphy's wood oil soap, which I'm not telling you guys to use. It says don't use it if the wood is not finished, but the smell was so bad, I was just willing to give anything a try. So what I did first was I went ahead and removed her paper tag, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to test an area of the wood to see if it was going to be okay to use, if the Murphy's discolored it at all. So of course I went for her back. And I used a clean white cloth, and you can see as I'm cleaning here, I'm showing how filthy the cloth got as I was cleaning. She was very, very dirty. Now, when I bought her, of course, it said she was kept in a case the whole time, but she came from an estate sale, so you really don't know. Her socks were absolutely filthy. You can see how nicotine stained and disgusting they are. Just terrible. So what I did is I put them in the sink with some Woolite, and I let them soak. I also did the same thing for the silk dress. So this is, you can see how yellow that water is, and that was soaked in Woolite. Now look at the disgusting water. I just wanted to show because that's years of filth and nicotine. I took her outside to let her air out for a bit because the smoke smell was so bad, and I felt like that natural air and sunlight would really help to kind of lessen that smell. Now you can see her undergarments with the OxiClean. So I soaked the undergarments and the socks with OxiClean, and that helped a lot. Then I buried her for about 2 weeks. So for almost 2 weeks, she was in a box buried in baking soda because the smell was just so bad and I couldn't get it to let up. So I put her inside this box and sealed her up in it to let the smell go away while I worked on her clothes. So here's a shot again of her underwear and socks, which you can see they're starting to get clean. The OxiClean is actually starting to work and really make them white again. I checked on her after about a week, and I really kind of got the baking soda into her hair because the hair was holding the smell worse than the wood. This is a human hair wig, and if you've ever been around a smoker, you know your hair will smell like it when you leave. Then I took her outside and left her out for a while. The cat is staring angrily because he took to sitting on top of this box. No matter where I put it, he would find it and he would go sit on top of it while she was inside. So next what I did is, after about 2 weeks, and I kept smell checking her, and the smell was finally at a point where I felt like it was gone. So now it was time to get all of the baking soda off of her body and out of her hair. So I used this air blower that we use for electronics to make sure all the baking soda was blown out of her joints and out of her hair. Now, because the hair was just so smelly, and it is human hair, I decided to use a little bit of dry shampoo on it just to kind of, you know, make sure the smell doesn't come back, because I'm very sensitive to cigarette smoke. So it said to hold it 8 to 10 inches away, and I just gave it a very light spritz all the way around. And it did actually improve the smell quite a bit of her hair. So just make sure not to get it on the wood. I mean, at this point, you know, she's in such bad shape it probably wouldn't matter, but I did try to be careful with that. Now that everything is done and her clothes are all cleaned up, I decided to go over her again with a Swiffer duster, just to make sure all the baking soda was removed off the surface of the wood, and that really helped to get any fine powder that was still clinging to the wood off. It worked really well, actually. So I used the blower to kind of blow the excess off after she'd been buried in it, and then I used this Swiffer cloth to go over her and remove any of the rest of the powder. The next issue you notice is her braids don't have the ribbon, but she's got this ribbon on her stand. And if you look at other Pongratz dolls, they use this actual same ribbon to tie out the braids on the dolls. So what I decided to do, because the string on the stand is so long, I decided to clip part of the string off to use to tie her braids up. And I was just kind of gauging what length I was going to use, because I didn't want to shorten the string by too much. I actually don't use my Pongratz stands because I have a nice shelf that I put them in, so I have them in storage. And you just use it to tie the doll down with, and since the string is more than long enough to tie the doll to, I really don't need it. So what I did is I rebraided her braids, and I put a rubber band at the bottom, and then I used the string to retie bows at the bottom of her braids so that it would be authentic and it would be the same type of bow that she would have had when she was brand new. So now that her clothes are clean and her hair is done, and look how white that got with the OxiClean. I left it soaking overnight, and it really made the underwear and the socks super white. So it's time to get her redressed in her clean clothes that don't smell like cigarettes anymore. After I dressed her, I realized I forgot about the shoes, which are filthy. So I don't really know how to clean them, so what I decided to do was to take them to the sink and just clean them with Woolite like I've done everything else, because they're very dirty and they're very smelly. And what I discovered while I was cleaning them is that the dye was coming out, so fingers crossed it's gonna work. I discovered that the dye was actually coming out of the shoes because I guess they're real leather, but luckily the glue didn't come undone. And you can see the dye here coming out in the water, but I just really tried to wash them as well as possible and rinse them, so hopefully they won't be smelly and dirty. Okay, she is finally done. I'm satisfied with how she came out. Just a couple of missteps I want to talk about. That Murphy's Wood cleaner, there are a couple little dark spots on her face that weren't there before. And you're not supposed to use that stuff on untreated wood or unfinished wood. I honestly didn't know if the Pongratz dolls were finished or not. I think they must have something light on them, but just a couple little dark spots, and I think that's from the cleaner settling in. But it also could have something to do with the box that I had her in. I'm really not sure because they didn't show up till the very end. But what I did, you can see on the side, there's another dark spot. There was a dark spot there where you see that really light spot. At that point, I was like, well, I've gone this far. I'm just going to very lightly dampen a white cloth. And it took the dark spot out, but it made a really white spot on the face of the doll. So that led me to believe there is some kind of finish there. So I don't know that I would recommend it or not. I would, if I had to do it over again, I would probably still do it because she just smelled so bad and she was so filthy. Like, I just feel better with her being cleaned. So there's that. Also, a couple of brown spots popped up there on her hand. Now the shoes. So the shoes were so nasty, I didn't realize they were leather at first until I started washing them. And they actually came out okay, but you know, leather shrinks when it gets wet. And this shoe, when I tried to put it back on, it did rip a little. Not just a little, but a good amount. But I was gonna toss them, actually. I was like, I'm either tossing these or I'm restoring them. And I think they got to the point where I'm satisfied displaying them on her like this. So I'm okay with that. Now I don't have to toss them and find another set of shoes, because truly this doll was the smelliest of the smelly. And I just, you know, it just, ugh, it grosses me out. And so I really wanted her to be clean, but I also wanted to rescue her because she is a made in West Germany Pongratz all wood girl. And, you know, I wanted her to be here in my house and, you know, have her cleaned up and rescue her, like I said. So I have this saying that all dolls deserve happiness, and so she was worth the time and effort to me. She doesn't smell anymore, so that's great, and she is ready to go on display with her Pongratz brothers and sisters, excuse me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you decide to do any of the methods that I did in this video, please do them at your own risk, because understand that I'm not a professional. I was just, you know, I was at the point, I was desperate. I was willing to try anything to get her to a condition where I was satisfied with her and I felt like she was clean and that she wouldn't contaminate my other dolls. So, you know, use everything that I showed you here at your own risk. But this has been my experience doing that. I'm satisfied. So if you end up trying a restoration method like this, let me know in the comments. And let me know too, what might you have done different? Is there something different you would have used? I know a lot of people recommended activated charcoal to me to get rid of the smell, but I didn't have any on hand, and I had like a gallon bucket of baking soda. So I just went with the baking soda, and it worked. So I was satisfied with that. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.